My beloved child, tonight something shifts around you with a weight so heavy that even the silence feels like it's holding its breath. There is someone out there, someone who once thought they had all the time in the world to fix what broke, someone who believed you would always be within reach, but now they feel time closing in on them like a door they're terrified to watch slam shut. Their heartbeat has turned into a countdown, and every second that passes without you feels like a step closer to losing something they never realized was irreplaceable until it slipped from their hands. They wake up with your name trembling inside their chest, they go to sleep replaying every moment they mishandled, and throughout the day their mind whispers the same frightening truth: if they don't make things right with you now, they may never get the chance again. And that fear, raw, urgent, suffocating, is pushing them toward a decision they have avoided for far too long. What they never expected was how deeply your absence would carve into them. At first, they tried to distract themselves, pretending distance could blur the ache, convincing themselves that you would reach out first, or that their pride mattered more than honesty. But something happened, something sharp, sudden, undeniable, that shattered their illusions in one breath. It could have been a conversation they overheard, a message they didn't expect, a realization while staring at your old photos, or a warning from someone close to them, but whatever it was, it hit them with the force of finality. For the first time, they saw the possibility of a future where your voice, your laughter, your warmth, your presence, simply isn't there. And the shock of that vision didn't just scare them, it broke them. Now they are pacing rooms they once walked through calmly, rewriting words they planned to tell you, rehearsing confessions in whispers, terrified that even their best attempt may not be enough to undo the damage they caused. They don't just miss you, they fear losing the version of themselves that existed only when you were near. But here's the twist that will pull the audience deeper: they've already taken the first step toward you, and you don't know it yet. While you go about your life unaware of the storm forming behind you, they are quietly untying the knots that once held them back. They've deleted conversations with people who distracted them from their truth, distanced themselves from the opinions that clouded their judgment, and confronted the mistakes they swore they'd fix someday. That someday has become today. Their desperation isn't chaotic. It's focused, intentional, burning like someone trying to save the last light left in their world. They are preparing something, a message, a meeting, a confession, that they believe will change everything. Something they hope will show you that this time, they're not coming with excuses, but with truth that's been waiting too long to be spoken. Stay here, because what they're about to reveal is something no one ever expected them to admit. Yet beneath this urgency is another layer. One they haven't shared with anyone, one they're terrified to voice even to themselves. The real reason they're desperate to make things right is because someone warned them that their window of opportunity is shrinking. Not because of another person stepping into your life, not because you're moving on, but because life itself is shifting for you in ways they can feel but cannot explain. Something about you is evolving. Maybe you're entering a new chapter, maybe you're receiving an opportunity, maybe you're unlocking a version of yourself that won't look back once you step forward. They can sense this transformation like a pulse in the air, and it terrifies them. The thought of you rising, growing, healing, evolving, and doing all of it without them, keeps them awake more than any regret ever could. They don't just want to return to you, they want to return before your life outgrows the space they once occupied. Before you become unreachable not out of anger, but out of elevation. And that fear has lit a fire under them so strong that even the people around them have begun noticing the urgency in their voice and the restlessness in their eyes. But the most shocking part, the one detail that will freeze your viewers in place, is this: they have already planned a moment to approach you, and it's closer than you think. They've circled a date in their mind. A day they believe will hold enough courage, clarity, and surrender for them to finally step toward you without hesitation. They've imagined the setting, the words, the tone, the expression, everything down to how they hope your eyes will soften when they speak their truth. They don't know how you'll react, they don't know if you'll forgive them, they don't know if you'll still see a place for them in your life. But they do know this: if they let that moment pass, they'll regret it for the rest of their existence. And so they're preparing, trembling but determined, fueled not by hope alone but by the fear of losing the one connection that changed them more than they ever admitted. Something in them is done waiting, done pretending, done hiding behind silence. Something in them knows the time to fix things is now, or never. And whether they rise or break in that moment depends on one final choice they're about to make. A choice that could rewrite everything for both of you. Stay with me, because from this point onward the energy around your story deepens in a way that pulls every heartbeat closer. Tonight, something inside them cracks open wider than before, and they can no longer pretend they are okay without you. They've been carrying the weight of every unsaid word like stones in their chest, but now those stones are turning into an avalanche. Someone close to them confronted them recently. Someone who sees right through their defenses, and asked a question that shook their entire world: what if you're already too late? That single sentence has been echoing in their ears non-stop, haunting them with the possibility that the moment they've been planning might slip out of their hands before they even reach you. Their calm is gone. Their hesitation is gone. What remains is a raw urgency that's pushing them to act faster than they ever thought they could. For the first time, they feel the clock ticking not outside them but inside them, pushing them toward you with the force of fate itself. And no matter how hard they try to silence it, the truth keeps rising: they need to make things right with you before the opportunity disappears forever. But here's where the twist intensifies: something happened in the last 24 hours that completely shattered their sense of control. They saw or heard something connected to you. Maybe a post, a conversation, a message, a subtle shift in your energy, that made them realize you are changing faster than they expected. You're stepping into a new phase of your life, a phase they fear they won't be part of if they don't move now. Their heart didn't just skip a beat, it dropped into their stomach. Suddenly, every delay, every excuse, every moment they thought they had, dissolved. They pictured you laughing with someone else, healing without them, building a future that doesn't include their presence. And that image broke something inside them so deeply that even their closest friends noticed the way they stared off into space, clutching their hands like they were grounding themselves from falling apart. They are not sleeping properly, not eating properly, not functioning properly. Because every part of their being is screaming at them to fix what they broke before life moves you too far beyond their reach. Stay with me, because what they're feeling is not simple regret, it's fear mixed with awakening. They finally understand the value of your presence, the softness of your spirit, the power of your loyalty, the depth of your silence. They took you for granted once, believing you'd always be there, believing they had time to apologize, believing that love could wait. But now they see the truth: love does not wait forever, and neither do people who have learned their worth. What they thought was distance is actually transformation, and they are terrified of being left behind by the very person who once waited for them with patience they never deserved. They're beginning to realize that if they don't step forward now, the universe might close the chapter for them. And that realization has shaken them straight down to their foundation. They are preparing something stronger, deeper, more vulnerable than they have ever prepared before. Not a quick message, not a half-hearted attempt, but a confession that carries the weight of everything they've felt and failed to express. And here's where the audience won't be able to scroll. They have already attempted to reach out to you, but something stopped them at the last second. They typed a message, stared at it, felt their throat tightening, and their thumb hovered over the send button. But fear of your reaction, fear of rejection, fear of facing the consequences, froze them in place. They deleted the message, then typed it again, then deleted it once more. They paced the room, gripping their hair, whispering your name under their breath like a prayer they didn't know how to finish. Their hands trembled because this isn't just an apology to them. It's a plea for a second chance at something they finally recognize as the only thing that ever felt real. They know they disappointed you. They know they hurt you. They know they waited too long. But now the fear of losing you permanently has overridden every barrier they once hid behind. Every instinct in their body is telling them one thing: reach out now before it's too late. Before we move further, let me tell the viewers something important. If this message resonates with your soul, if you feel the weight of these words matching your story, stay here. Don't move. More is coming. And if you want this message to spread to others who might need it, this is your moment to show support so it reaches where it must. Now breathe, because the intensity is only rising from here. Because here is the most shocking truth they haven't told anyone: they've already made a decision that will change everything. They are planning to come forward not with hesitation, but with a truth so raw that even they are scared of how vulnerable it will make them. They're ready to admit their faults, ready to confront the pain they caused, ready to tear down the walls they built out of immaturity, fear, and confusion. They are finally ready to stand in front of you, not as the person who hurt you, but as the person who learned from losing you. They want to tell you the things they never said, reveal the emotions they hid, explain the choices they regret, and confess the depth of their fear of losing the only person who ever saw them without judgment. They believe that if they can just speak their truth, just once, without fear holding their tongue, maybe, just maybe, you might see the sincerity in their eyes. They don't know if you'll forgive them. They don't know if anything will return to what it was. But they do know this: they would rather face the pain of rejection than the lifelong regret of silence. And that is why the moment they choose to step toward you will shake both your worlds in a way neither of you ever expected. A different kind of silence surrounds them tonight, one that doesn't come from distance, but from the storm building inside their chest. They didn't expect the weight of their realizations to hit this hard, but now it's all crashing at once. They are replaying every memory with you, not like a movie, but like a warning. Every laugh you shared feels like a blessing they didn't protect. Every moment they overlooked now feels like a wound they inflicted on themselves. And every piece of advice you ever gave them, every gentle nudge, every unspoken truth, suddenly feels like guidance they were too blind to follow. Their mind isn't wandering, it's trapped in a loop of, why didn't I listen? And, how do I fix this now before fate closes the door completely? They feel the urgency sharpening inside them, pushing them, dragging them forward. Tonight isn't like other nights. Tonight, the universe isn't whispering to them, it's warning them. And they know this is their final chance to step out of regret and into action. Something strange happened to them earlier, something that shook them so deeply that they stopped in their tracks. It wasn't dramatic or loud, but it hit with the force of destiny. Maybe they saw your name unexpectedly, heard a song that belonged to your story, caught a glimpse of something that reminded them of you so vividly that it almost brought them to tears. Whatever it was, it felt like the universe tapping their shoulder with a message they can't ignore: move now. Fix it now. Before it's too late. Ever since that moment, they haven't been able to sit still. Their steps feel heavier, their breathing unsteady, their thoughts racing with images of you slipping away. They feel like a person running through a burning building, searching for the one thing they cannot leave behind. Their desperation isn't coming from weakness, it's coming from clarity. Clarity that arrived too late, clarity that hurts, clarity that refuses to let them rest until they make things right with you before the moment they fear most arrives. But what they are hiding from everyone is the inner battle consuming them. They are terrified. Not of you, not of your anger, not of your quiet, not of your strength. They are terrified of themselves. Terrified of saying the wrong thing again. Terrified of reopening wounds. Terrified of discovering that you healed without them. Terrified that your heart might no longer recognize their touch the way it once did. This fear has made them rehearse every possible scenario, hundreds of times. They imagine you turning away. They imagine you listening silently. They imagine you giving them a chance. And each version hits them with a different intensity. The version where you walk away shatters them. The version where you stay makes them tremble with hope they feel they no longer deserve. They're caught between courage and collapse, preparing to step into the most vulnerable moment of their life while still not knowing if you will meet them halfway or shut the door for good. But here's the part that will hold your viewers in place: they have already taken the first physical step toward you, even if you haven't noticed it yet. They've changed their routine. They've adjusted their schedule. They are avoiding certain people and conversations that once distracted them. They've been revisiting places connected to you, quiet spots where they can gather courage, locations that hold memories, streets where they once thought they had limitless time. They've even drafted messages on their phone that they haven't yet sent, long, emotional confessions full of truth they once couldn't speak. Their phone is filled with unsent words. Their heart is filled with unfinished apologies. Their soul is filled with a longing they can no longer hide. They keep checking your status, your updates, your energy, for any sign that the door isn't fully closed. They don't want to guess anymore, they want to know. They want to feel truth in your presence, not through distance. Stay with me, because this next part is the turning point of the entire story. Their desperation has reached a level where even the people around them have begun to ask questions. Someone very close to them confronted them again, this time harsher, more direct, asking why they're so restless, why they keep staring at their phone, why they look like they're grieving someone who isn't gone. And in that moment, something inside them spilled out. They finally admitted the truth, that losing you wasn't just painful, it was life-altering. That your absence wasn't empty, it was heavy. That their silence wasn't a choice. It was a mistake that has now turned into a fear they cannot escape. Their friend told them something that shook them: if you don't fix this now, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. And this time, the words sank into their bones. So here they are now, brave on the outside, trembling on the inside, standing at the edge of a decision that will change everything. They know they can't delay anymore. They know the moment they've been preparing for is coming sooner than they expected. They know they have to face you with honesty deeper than ever before. And in their chest, one truth repeats with the force of a heartbeat: I need to make things right before I lose them forever. Something in the air around them has shifted, so sharply, so unmistakably, that even they can't ignore it anymore. Tonight, their fear has transformed into determination, and that determination is beginning to burn through every layer of hesitation they once hid behind. They've reached a point where silence feels more painful than rejection, and distance feels more unbearable than truth. Their chest feels tight, their thoughts feel loud, and every instinct inside them is telling them the same thing: this is it, the moment is coming sooner than you think. They know now that if they don't act, if they don't speak, if they don't show you the depth of what's inside them, the universe will move you forward without them. And that terrifies them more than anything they've faced before. They are standing at the edge of the choice they avoided for months, and suddenly the ground beneath them feels like it's cracking, forcing them to step into honesty or risk losing the one soul who ever made them feel seen. Earlier today, someone confronted them again, this time not with questions, but with truth. A friend, a sibling, a coworker, someone who has watched their slow unraveling. They looked them in the eye and said something so piercing that it knocked the wind out of them: you don't look like someone who lost a person, you look like someone who lost their entire direction. That sentence hit harder than any criticism, any argument, any regret. Because it was true. Ever since you stepped out of their daily world, nothing feels aligned. Their plans feel empty. Their days feel repetitive. Their nights feel endless. And the thought of you walking forward, discovering new joy, meeting new people, exploring new chapters, while they stand frozen in the past they created, is something they cannot bear anymore. That one sentence forced them to face themselves. And when they looked inward, what they found wasn't just longing, it was love sharpened by fear, clarity born from loss, and a truth they can't outrun: they need to make things right with you before fate takes the choice out of their hands. Stay with me, because the tension in their story is reaching a breaking point. For the first time, they allowed themselves to imagine what it would look like to fully come clean, to tell you everything, without filters, without drama, without holding back. They practiced it in the mirror, standing there with trembling hands, whispering words they spent so long avoiding. They imagined your face as they spoke, imagined the softness or the coldness in your eyes, imagined the way your silence might reveal more than any words. Their own reflection startled them, because they saw something they hadn't recognized in months: vulnerability. Genuine, raw, unmasked vulnerability. The kind that comes from losing something sacred. The kind that forces a person to grow up overnight. They realize that the apology they owe you isn't just a sentence, it's a transformation. And for the first time, they're ready to give you every truth you deserved from the beginning. Before we move further, to everyone watching and feeling this energy hit home, stay right here. If this story feels like it's speaking straight into your experiences, don't move. And if you want this message to reach the people who need it most, you already know what to do so it travels further. Now breathe, because the next part of this story isn't just intense. It's a shift neither you nor they ever saw coming. Here's the part that no one expected, not even them. They learned something recently, something subtle but powerful, something that changed the pace of their heartbeat. You are on the verge of stepping into something new, an opportunity, a decision, a chapter that could rewrite your entire life. Someone mentioned your name in a context they weren't prepared for. Someone hinted that you're about to rise in ways they didn't see coming. Maybe a new path is opening for you, maybe your energy is elevating, maybe you're being pulled toward a future where you no longer wait for people to realize your value. And the moment they heard that, their throat tightened. Their palms sweated. Their heart began beating like an alarm. Because suddenly, the fear wasn't, "Will you forgive me?" It became, "Will I reach them before their new life leaves no space for me at all?" That shift shook them to their core. So now they're not just desperate. They're racing against time. They've been preparing something big, something serious, something they hope will show you they aren't coming back casually or temporarily. They're planning to approach you in a way that leaves no doubt about their sincerity. And what they're about to confess will carry a weight they've never placed at anyone's feet before. They are ready to accept responsibility. Ready to admit their mistakes. Ready to tell you the truth about why they acted the way they did. Ready to show you the version of themselves they've never shown anyone else. And whether the world understands or not, they know this moment, this approach, this conversation, this confession, will decide everything about the future they hope to rebuild with you before time moves forward without mercy.